I was looking a little farther into these fires on the Chevy Bolt. I mean, there's been 5 fires, I think. A little rough to tell exactly how many and so on, but uh, they all seem to start under the back seat, and that's what we originally thought. I did see a video today, and I'll leave a link to that video in the description, of a car burning up in the guy's driveway, uh, and it obviously started at the back of the car, because that's where the flames are coming out. So, and in one case, the fire was put out, they towed it, it caught on fire again, and I think by the time they got it back to a dealership or something, I can't remember where exactly they took it, it had caught it on fire a third time. So this is almost certainly has to do with batteries. These batteries, you know, we've had this before. Remember the laptops catching on fire many years ago, and of course Tesla's had a bunch of problems with theirs. I think every manufacturer's had this. I'm not beating up the Bolt over this. This is just, it's part of it. You know, it's just like gas leaks in a gasoline car. You know, they catch on fire too. These do seem to start not when the car is running. I haven't seen anything about cars running and this happening while it was operating. It always seems to be sitting, and of course General Motors is saying it's when it's charged up to around 100%. And most people don't actually charge them to 100%. And of course, if you have one, I would not charge it to 100% anymore. You can charge it to the Hilltop Reserve if it was 2017 or 18, and 2019 has a little touchscreen thing that you can change it on. I'm not going to try to explain all that to you. There's plenty of sources for that if you don't know how to do it. But I wouldn't charge about. I'll tell you one thing though, that is not a fix. This is something, it's kind of like, gee, I sure hope this helps. I would not guarantee that's going to keep these cars from catching on fire. And I want you to think about something. If the car's in your garage and it catches on fire that way, I mean, it's going to be pretty hard to get this thing, even if you were trying to get it out of the garage. You can't, it's probably not going to be able to be driven out of the garage when it's on fire. And trying to get it into neutral to where you could push it out, it's a little bit tough too. So I'm kind of thinking these things should be outside. I know everybody loved to do that in the middle of wintertime for us northern people. So I think that's what I'd recommend. General Motors has no idea of what to do yet. They did kind of, like most companies do, they don't necessarily listen to when it first happens. They just blow you off. There's one woman that kind of felt she was blown off, and she had a pretty serious fire in hers. So I would be a little antsy about keeping it in the garage, and certainly not charged up fully. It's not going to make any difference what kind of charger you have or anything like that. I don't think that's got anything to do with it. The car determines how it charges. And this is almost certainly a battery issue. Some guys are saying, well, maybe it's electronics. It's not electronics. Electronics, you know, they can burn up, but they don't catch on fire like this. They don't do this. Remember, that battery is enclosed in a steel box. It's steel on the bottom, it's steel on the top. It's pretty enclosed. So there's something going on there that produces an awful lot of heat. Now, electric cars, they can heat up so fast. I built an electric car a number of years ago, and I can remember the first time I drove the thing, I did not make it more than about 3 miles, and I melted a couple of battery terminals. Just, it melted them. I smell the burn, and it melted them just like that. There's a lot of amperage going through these things, a lot of power going through these things. That's when it's operating, not in this case like this. But the point is, these fires can be very hot very quick. So I suppose it'd be a good idea to push General Motors a little bit to get something figured out. But from what I saw, General Motors was talking about it. They were kind of just saying, well, we're going to see if we can figure out what to do. And we know what they're going to do. They're going to have to replace the batteries. One of the issues that that battery has 350 to 400 volts in it. I'm thinking I'm going to replace a few cells or something. None of that's going to happen. And the hazard of having a tech work on that thing with hot batteries in it, they're just not going to do it. They're going to replace the entire battery pack. And a couple of guys have says, well, maybe we'll get the 2020 battery. Well, you might. Yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't count on it, but you never know. Anyway, just my thoughts on that, on the battery fires. Again, I'm really not beating up the car. I own one. The silly thing is actually done really well. And if you expect a new technology is not going to have some serious problems, you're not living in this world. Anyway, that's it on this one.